right, let's do it. Good evening and welcome into another episode of America's Hometown Horror. My name is Mike. Thanks for checking back in with us. We love having you here and we have a lot to get to tonight, so why don't we just move right the fuck forward. So here's where you can find us online. First place is our website, ahpod.com. That's ahhpod.com. Check out our blog on ahpod.com. You can also find us on all the socials, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search for America's Hometown Horror and you'll find us. You can also email us at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. And also want to mention our two sponsors this evening, first of which is Horror Facts Magazine. You can find them at horrorfacts.com. What a great resource for any horror fan for news, reviews, editorials, and lots of horror podcasts just like ours. And last but certainly not least, we're now an affiliate of Fangoria Magazine, the first name in fright since 1979. Head on over to shop.fangoria.com/hometownhorrorpod or use the code hometownhorrorpod at checkout for your exclusive 20% discount on any merchandise and first-time magazine subscriptions. Again, that's Fangoria, the first in fright since 1979. Last, but most certainly not least, if you want to support us directly, along with our friends over at Inebriart, buy yourself some tickets to the Hometown Haunts and Hops Horror Convention, which will be taking place at Mayflower Brewing Company on October 28th of this year. You can go to inebriart.com, go to their events page, go to October, and buy yourself some tickets for $5. With that said, I do have a little bit of news that I can share about Haunts and Hops, you guys. I saw, some of you probably saw it on the socials, on our social pages.
Shared it.
We have an official sponsor of the con. Andy from Inebriart and I had a chance to meet with Alexandra from HalloweenNewEngland.com, which is an awesome website. You may remember Alexandra from such podcasts as this one. She was on our show a couple years ago talking about what she does over on her awesome website. But if you haven't heard of Halloween New England, it is the website for the truly Halloween obsessed. Has the most extensive guides to New England haunted houses, ghost tours, classic horror film screenings, jack-o'-lantern festivals, haunted hayrides, much, much more. They have all the thrills covered throughout September and October with over 2,500 Halloween events on their events calendar, now including the Hometown Haunts and Hops Horror Convention. So if you go to Halloween New England, go to Massachusetts, you will find our event on there, and there will be frequent updates as we get some more stuff going on. So we are thrilled to be partnering with our friends over at HalloweenNewEngland.com at Haunts and Hops. So yeah, it's been an exciting week on that front. Awesome to have a sponsor. Very, very cool stuff. Hopefully the first of many sponsors, but we're thrilled to have Alexandra and Halloween New England on board.
See if she wants to come back.
So I think she is going to come back for an episode to kind of talk about her website. She does want to come back closer to Halloween season, so we can definitely have her on and talk some more New England haunted attractions and Halloween events, which should be a fun time.
Sweet.
But anyway, you've kind of heard some of them already. Guys, I have my co-hosts here, Andrew, Matt, Kat, lady, gentlemen. Hello, good evening. What's up?
What up? Happy Friday, Junior.
Yeah, happy Friday, Junior, as we're recording
Friday,
on Thursday.
Losers.
This episode might be out later in the week that we're in, or it might be out at the beginning of next week, depending on when we can get it out.
Whichever you're listening to.
Yeah, exactly.
Today.
Maybe you'll get two next week. Maybe you'll get one for
this was
Friday
released
itself.
It came out today.
Yes, exactly.
Not
But
Friday Eve.
I have to mention another person that we're partnering with. You may have noticed over the last couple of episodes that we have a much better sounding audio quality. That is because we are now partnering with our buddy Sean O'Laughlin at Skywheel Media. So Shauno, you may recognize from podcasts, again, such as this one. He was on a couple of years ago. We talked about horror soundtracks. This was,
the
I
music
think,
one.
before Matt was on. Great guy, does a couple podcasts of his own, including You're Not Listening, which is a music podcast that I listen to all the time that he does with his dad. But Shauno is now starting his own podcast audio production company. Again, that's called Skywheel Media. He will have a website that is going to be launching soon. But if you, like we did, if you have a podcast that you're looking to take to the next level in terms of audio quality, at this point, you can get in touch with us directly. Send us an email, DM us, whatever, and we can put you in touch with Shauno and Skywheel Media to talk about getting your audio production where it should be.
I feel like he should have a theme song for his website, and it should be "The wheel in the sky keeps on turning."
I have a
I like
feeling.
that song.
I bet there's a copyright issue.
Journey might
Yeah,
have an issue with that, but I like.
Song fucking rocks.
I like where your head's at. I can appreciate that. But yeah, Shauno's an awesome guy. He's another one that we're gonna have back on the podcast soon. I told him, as the company gets off the ground, we would definitely help him, promote his production company and have him on for a movie of his choice. So he loves horror.
I'm interested to see what he would pick.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm always interested.
What's
to
his
see what
taste
people would
more?
pick.
So he's a big Evil Dead guy.
Okay.
He loves Alien. So I actually wish we had him on for that one. I feel bad that we didn't. But it's funny because now I'm sending him all of our audio files after we record, and he's just doing all the editing and the production and making it sound all kinds of sexy. And I feel bad
Listening to
because
all the bad,
words. Well, that too. But also, I was texting him. I was like, hey, I kind of feel bad that if we're talking about a movie you haven't seen, you're listening back to it, we're gonna spoil this movie for you. And he was like, oh, dude, don't even worry about it. It's okay. Take pleasure.
Well, we don't
in
spoil
helping you guys out.
We spoil it.
Well, we haven't covered a brand new movie in a while, but even
we don't spoil new.
Dude, we
movies.
definitely.
If it's an older movie,
we have a handful that I think we have access to watch. That we should. It might. What if we do like in the next couple of weeks? We do like just like a double down. From
KFC.
That's what I was just like.
I'm down
You do
for
a
the double
two
down.
like just
I
like
am
one
down.
episode, no
for the double
news,
down.
My
no
ears
reviews,
perked
just
up. I was
like
like, double down?
two new
What?
movies,
Two new movies.
Manana?
Evil
Yeah.
Dead Rise, Renfield.
Down.
I know we were talking about. We were definitely talking about doing.
Yeah, like a clown, Charlie.
Definitely talking about maybe doing a draft too. So yeah, next week's up in the air. We'll see what we're gonna do.
Tone.
Anyway, as of this recording, next week we are getting another horror release in theaters, and that would be Insidious: The Red Door, the last movie in the Insidious franchise.
Let me know how it is.
I'm like, Dad, I'd be like,
That's
can we
me
get a
shitting myself.
babysitter?
Yeah, no
Andrew, you
interest.
want to babysit Bridget while we go see it? Maybe.
I'd rather do that than go see the movie.
See,
so,
okay, all right.
Yeah.
Good friend. Good friend.
This is the last one in the series. It is directed by and starring Patrick Wilson. I don't think he's directed a movie before, so he's taking a foray into directing. So
He just constantly has a huge bulge in his pants the whole movie.
right, yeah, probably just so thrilled with himself.
That'd be such a funny little
talk
thing
about
that
such
he
a
did.
boner actor that suddenly
Oh,
became
dude.
famous. Like Straw Dogs, cool. Yeah, he was in Straw Dogs,
No.
right?
No, you're thinking
Who
of
am
the
I
wrong
thinking?
guy.
Who am I thinking?
This is the guy. He's been in the Insidious movies.
Yeah.
He's Ed Warren in The Conjuring.
Yeah,
Marty
Cindy.
Hard Candy.
boner. Yeah, what's his Patrick Wilson?
Patrick Wilson. He's a good actor.
So who am I thinking? of
Handsome
then?
lad too. I don't
From
know who you're
Straw
thinking of.
Dogs.
Yeah.
It's the guy that was supposed to be the lead of Salem's Lot.
Oh, I don't know.
Isn't
I
it
don't
the
know.
same guy?
Wait, the new Salem's
Am I
Lot?
Yeah.
wrong,
Oh,
or
Louis,
was that
Bill Pullman's
not-
kid?
No.
I thought it was Patrick Wilson.
I don't know.
I may be wrong, but
The original Straw Dogs is Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, that's Dustin Hoffman.
no, I'm not
and,
thinking of that one.
James Marsden.
Yeah, same
Oh,
fucking
yeah,
guy,
yeah.
isn't
Okay.
it?
No,
They look exactly
No.
the same.
it's not even close.
It's not the same guy.
Dude, 100%.
Not the same
no.
guy. But anyway, yep, Insidious the Red Door coming next
Wrong.
week. Anyone see the trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's that's coming out this
Yeah.
October? Looked okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys see it? No?
I don't know.
You know what Five Nights at Freddy's is? You heard of it before?
Maybe.
So
That's-
basically, it's a horror movie coming from Blumhouse that's going to be, I think it's out on October 27th. And it is based on a series of video games where you're a security guard in a old school 80s like Chuck E. Cheese style restaurant
Oh, I did see that.
where
I
the
did see trailer.
animatronics come to life and try to kill you.
They
Yeah.
made this movie
Dude.
already with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, right. It's called
Oh.
Willy's Wonderland. But yeah, it's based on a pretty popular series of video games. I've played the first one on my phone. It was kind of cool. The movie looks all right. I'm sure it's going to be another PG-13 Blumhouse thing, unless
Which
they decide to
sounds
rate it R.
Perfect. for
Mike
me.
said the name of the movie, and I immediately thought that was like Mike's favorite vacation that he ever took. It was like 5 nights.
Five Nights at Freddy's. Yes. 5 nights with my friend
Nice.
Freddy.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not gonna yell it,
Yep.
but I'm gonna yell it.
There you go.
Points.
Oh,
That
God.
was good. That was good.
A couple other quick little pieces of news here before we get into some other stuff. More Stranger Things 5 news. Dan Trachtenberg is going to direct an episode of this series. You may know
Any
him.
relation to Michelle Trachtenberg?
I'm not sure, actually. Maybe.
Clarissa explains it. No,
Harriet
no,
the Spy.
that's Harriet the Spy.
That's what it is, yeah.
Dan Trachtenberg, you may know him from directing 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Okay.
Last year's Prey on Hulu, which fucking
Ooh,
rocked. That was a
okay.
great movie. And he also directed my personal favorite episode of Black Mirror, Playtest. So
Is that
Yeah,
his
you
favorite
love
episode?
you love that episode.
I love that episode
I
so
really like
much.
San Junipero.
San Junipero is very good, but it's like that's a feel-good one. I like
White
the
Christmas
dark
is
ones
the
too.
best
White
one.
Christmas is very
That's
good
really
too.
Black Museum.
Black
up there.
Museum's awesome.
Yeah.
They're all very good, but my personal, I think that was the most horror one before this current season. So, yeah. So look up, getting some little updates on Stranger Things 5. In addition to last week's news that Linda Hamilton's joining the cast. Cool stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And last little piece of news. I know we talked about this, but it's been a little while since we've recorded. In news that may have already given Andrew a big old pants tent. Christopher Nolan, more
Already
on him
happened.
in a little bit, says that Oppenheimer is, quote, kind of a horror movie.
Yeah, I brought that up.
Didn't
I
we talk
know.
about this last
We
week?
did. No, we didn't
Yeah.
talk about it on the show. I think we talked about it,
Just
Off
just
the
you know,
air.
Off
yeah,
air.
sidebar type
Yeah.
thing. But I mean, I guess I can kind of see where he's coming from
Well,
here. It is
no.
about the guy that created the atomic
But it also
bomb.
depends on how he made the movie. So he
Yeah.
could turn this into this movie could be
For
a very
sure.
good horror
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, just
that
horrific.
excites
This
me
is-
because people see this movie and they go, it's a horror movie. Then I go, yeah, fuck yeah. This is every Christopher Nolan movie I want to watch. Like, give me fucking
It
just-
would be a horror movie in the sense that Threads is a horror movie.
Yeah. Basically, so I guess he told, he had an interview with Wired magazine. He said, quote, some people leave the movie absolutely devastated. They can't speak. I mean, there's an element of fear there that's there in the history and there in the underpinnings. But the love of the characters, the love of the relationships is as strong as I've ever done. It's an intense experience because it's an intense story. I showed Oppenheimer to a filmmaker recently who said it's kind of a horror movie. I don't disagree.
I mean, given the current events going on right now over in Europe, definitely it's relevant.
Yeah, for sure.
Strikes a chord. So.
But I mean, he has to be the director I think of that has never made a straight horror movie that I would love to see make a straight horror movie.
Memento's a little bit, I wouldn't call it horror, but it's definitely as much of a horror movie as like Seven would be a horror movie.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like in terms
Yeah,
of
it's a
pretty
fucking
shocking
gutty.
thriller.
It's a gutty like there's a lot of hard elements in that movie.
Dark Knight's got some pretty horrific.
I would argue that any of the shit with the Joker in it in Dark Knight, some of that shit's
Yeah.
scary. I mean, he's
Yeah.
scary.
Memento is one of my favorite movies he's made.
Dunkirk's didn't he make Dunkirk?
Yeah.
He did. Yeah,
That
I
movie-
still haven't seen
that
Dunkirk.
movie's fucking you.
It's rough.
I haven't
that
seen.
movie's
I haven't
hard.
seen Dunkirk.
That's a
that's
heartbreaking
World
movie.
War
Tenet.
One, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
give me like you can if Christopher Nolan's making a World War I or World War II movie, fucking sign me up. The other, yeah, there's a lot of good. Like I love those old war movies. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't an old war movie, but it's Christopher Nolan fucking rocks. That's
Yeah,
all
he's
I gotta
he's
say.
Yeah.
obviously he's one of the greatest working
Some of his
directors
movies
right
I
now.
can't really fuck with though, because I just like I didn't really like Inception just because I'm like, dude, like
Oh, see, I love Inception.
It's like I don't. It's not a bad movie.
That's probably.
But I'm
if
just
you had
like,
to
I
put
don't
it
know what
in
the fuck
order,
is going
If
on.
you had to put it in order, though, it's for me. It's Memento, Dunkirk, Interstellar.
Interstellar is cool.
I love that movie so much. I love hardcore sci-fi.
The
movies.
Batman movies are great.
The Batman.
He doesn't
Yeah,
miss with any of
yeah.
those.
Batman Begins is right up there.
Or Dark Knight.
with the Dark Knight.
The what is it? The Dark Knight starts.
Yeah, right.
Like other than
Dark Knight Rises was a bit of
Yeah,
a drop off for me.
Other-
Aside from Tom Hardy.
Well, the
other
Dark
than
Knight,
that,
the
though,
regular one
other
was-
than that,
yeah.
though, they still put together a pretty decent movie. It's a terrible movie, but it's
Decent.
like that opening scene. Tom
yeah.
Hardy.
everything
rocks
with
that movie.
Bane
Dude,
in it
the,
is
the
great.
scenes at the where the Steelers play. Heinz
That's
Field,
awesome.
That scene's fucking.
I
great.
think the scene where Batman fights Bane and gets his back broken is some of the best shit in the entire trilogy.
Dude,
That's awesome.
The scene when Bane is like preaching to the crowd.
Yeah, it's great.
But it's in Newman's voice.
Yeah, I know. I knew you were going to bring that up.
That's like my favorite video of all time.
I also think the Prestige is low key a really good Christopher Nolan movie too
I
that
like
not
that
a lot of
movie.
people talk
Mhm.
about. But yeah, so
That's
Christopher
the
Nolan.
magician one, right?
Yes, that's the
Yeah,
magician
I
one
like
with
that
a
one.
huge ass man
Yeah.
and
Christopher Bale.
Christian Bale. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
That's a good
That's an
movie.
underrated movie.
Yeah.
What's the other one? The Illusionist. I
yeah.
like that movie.
That's the one with
I think
Christopher with Edward Norton and Jessica
Yeah,
Biel.
that
Yeah.
movie I like better than the
That's a
Prestige.
good
If
one,
you had to
too.
put two of
Yeah.
those together next to
Yeah.
each other.
Guys, we can do some watch list stuff now if we want. That's what I got.
Do we wanna-
Actually, I have a new segment, and it is a call to arms. And this is the point of the segment of the podcast where I would like to have someone say something that you really would like to have happen. And I was gonna write a blog about this, but as we all know, I ain't gonna do shit. I'm not gonna write shit. I didn't do shit. But my call to arms is for Tim Robinson to make a horror movie. That is my call to arms because I think that he could be up there with Jordan Peele. Like that guy fucking has some dark humor, and he could write something real weird.
Way over the
it would
top.
be way over the top, but I would fucking love it.
I mean, it would be very interesting. Zach Kreger came from a comedy background before he did Barbarian. I could totally see it. I mean,
That's
He
my
also
call to
almost
arms.
wrote a Batman movie.
that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I actually remember hearing him say that on
Call Us of the
Calls of the
Dark.
Dark when
Yeah.
he was on that show. Oh man, you're putting me on the spot here.
I know. I wasn't prepared. For this, dude, where's the group chat action?
No. This is a weekly thing. We rotate. You don't have to do it this week.
Okay.
Today was my week. Next week, Kat, that's your call to arms. And I want to hear your call to arms. I want to know.
Save.
I mean, I guess I kind of had one for Christopher Nolan to make a street.
I mean, yeah, you kind of.
I don't want to put anybody.
Did you
on
just
the
make
spot.
this up right now?
Literally within the last like 10 seconds. This was like when I was shitting this morning and you texted me. But we're gonna talk about
That
that
was in the
more
last 10
later.
seconds.
Nothing
Yeah.
else.
We're gonna talk about Andrew's shit a little more.
No,
later.
I
right.
just thought about that.
There
That
we
literally
go.
was just-
So, hey.
I went a call.
Another
Two
segment.
arms. See, what an intro.
Beautiful, very nice, very well done.
Yeah.
A call. You have to sound like a bird, like a call.
Well, that's what I didn't understand. I was like, what is this new segment? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
We can
I
edit
was
this.
leading it in.
Yeah, cut that. I'm fucking with you, Jesus
Not fucking
Christ.
cutting
Yes,
shit.
I know.
You're doing shit.
Andrew,
doing shit.
I know. Did I know? Kat and I finished. Did you made it through episode 3?
Oh,
Matt,
are we
did
in
you
a watch
finish?
list?
Did you finish Black Mirror?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I've had a lot on my plate with work.
Quite all right.
Episode
last
3.
couple
Did you watch episode 3 or have you just watched the first two?
Okay.
Okay.
The first
We
two.
didn't watch-
Spoiler free for Matt. I mean,
gotta watch
episode 3,
episode
which
3.
is
I know.
called.
I didn't watch it today.
We watched all of them.
Going with
That's the
Aaron
one
Paul.
with Josh Hartnett and Aaron Paul.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
I
called
did
Beyond the
watch
Sea.
I did see that.
Yeah, because we talked about the first 2 episodes on the last episode.
We're not going to talk about it because it's good.
It's
I almost
very
watched
good.
it last night, but I watched a movie.
Well
instead.
worth
You
a
should
watch.
watch
Probably, in my
instead
opinion,
of a
the
movie.
most star-studded Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Can you think of 3 bigger actors or like
One of them
combined?
had like fucking Miley Cyrus in it.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
3,
the,
but 3 and 1.
Yeah,
3 and
okay.
1.
Yeah.
Hartnett, Paul,
Mm.
and Mara.
Yeah.
You got 3. That's 3 pretty good.
Dude, you know what I was saying to Kat? We were watching that episode. Dude, Rooney Mara is not very attractive. I feel like
That's Kate Mara. the show?
whichever Mara is in the 3rd episode, not
That's
very
Kate Mara.
attractive.
Rooney
I don't know
Mara
who that is.
is in the girl with the dragon tattoos. I think she is far more attractive in a more androgynous type of
Well,
way, but
whichever
that's fine.
Mara,
Nothing wrong with that.
whichever daughter of the owner of the New York Giants
She's
is in
like
this
David
episode
Bowie.
of Black
Like,
Mirror.
would you fuck David Bowie?
No.
She's it's not her. Not
Would you?
Probably not. I mean, I might.
Who
What
would
are we
know?
doing there?
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking David Bowie.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
Never.
I think you have to say yes.
Never,
How
ever.
much, how much money would it cost?
Oh,
A
God.
bunch.
All right. Yeah. Oh, a lot. Quite a bit. Oh God. But anyway,
he looks like a girl. I'd fuck him.
yeah. I mean, I feel like we can't really talk too much about Beyond the Sea without spoiling it. But it's
That's fine.
dude. It's
Yeah, I'll
you
watch it
gotta
this
you gotta
weekend.
watch it. Episodes 4 and 5 are definitely a drop off in quality of the first 3, but they're still pretty good and they're still very horror.
3's the best episode I've seen so far.
See, I liked Lock Henry. I think.
I-
Yeah, Lock Henry was very good.
Yeah.
3's better. It's more
Yeah.
bleak. It's more unexpected.
I've heard it's very bleak,
It's
and I'm,
bleak and
that's
it's-
one thing that I'm
very
like
bleak.
weirdly enough excited for.
Well, the
That's
funny
the
thing
best
is,
about it.
It's-
It's so bleak.
Yeah.
the funny
It's the
thing is,
bleakest of
with
bleak.
All
this
right.
season of Black Mirror, I feel like people are down on it because it's so dark and bleak. But what the fuck
Sign
are
me
you
the
expecting?
fuck up.
Like this
No,
is
this is
Black
what I
Mirror. It's always
want
been
with
Black
No, I
Mirror.
feel like it's
Well,
kind
because
of
everything that they would normally make episodes about
Yeah.
is happening in real life.
There's like 2.
Yeah.
There's
Well, we can't
They
do
have to
this
get weird
anymore.
about it.
There
Yeah.
hasn't been like a happy kind of fluff episode. Like San Junipero was like a happy, even though they you know,
San
that was a
Junipero.
happy episode.
It was an
though.
uplifting
like, it was
drama,
Uplifting
yeah.
kind of. They usually they have one per season.
Yeah,
It's a
San
very-
Junipero
I
was
feel
one. Hang the DJ was another one. That one
Yeah.
was really, really good. And I would say that Nosedive, the one with Bryce Dallas
San Junipero
Howard,
was
is
like
actually uplifting kind of at the end.
same.
Because at least she ends up happy with herself, even though her social media rating has gone
Which
down.
one?
She can't get a house. The one with Bryce
Nosedive.
Dallas Howard, where she, like, you
Oh,
walk around in life and you're
yeah.
rating
She's
people's
like,
stars. Yeah,
that
one,
episode, I fucking hate that.
Yeah.
I actually don't
hate
mind that
her.
one. I don't
Like,
mind
but
that one.
I don't-
But anyway, yeah, you got to check out Black Mirror season 6 on Netflix if you haven't yet.
Cooler.
I'll kick off real quick because I don't really have a ton horror related. So I'll start off non-horror stuff. I rewatched Casino because it's fucking awesome.
You watch Casino as much as I watch Goodfellas. I watch Goodfellas
I haven't
three times.
I haven't seen Casino the whole way through in a really long time. I've seen it in
Long
pieces.
movie.
It's very
Well,
it's like 3
Goodfellas.
hours.
So
long.
you've watched Goodfellas.
Goodfellas I watch at least once every couple of months.
Yeah.
And also the new season of The Bear on Hulu is just absolutely
forgot we started
phenomenal.
watching it,
It's a
yeah.
great fucking show. The
Bear.
first season was
Have
great.
you seen
I
that?
haven't seen that show.
The first
But
Yeah.
related to Casino, the reason I rewatched it is I have a podcast recommendation. It's called The Rewatchables. You may have heard of this show. It's on the Ringer Podcast Network. It's in a good show content wise. I'm not a big Bill Simmons guy. I think Bill Simmons is a fucking dork and a turd. But he puts out some good. He puts some. He puts
Double
out.
down, dude.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
He's just a fucking dude. He's a fucking goofball. Like I don't know. He's all right. I feel like people either like Bill Simmons or you
Be
grew
very
up liking
funny if
like
Bill
Dave
Simmons
Portnoy.
listens to this podcast.
You hurt my
Believe me.
feelings.
He's just like
The
listening,
fuck?
and he's just like,
Believe me, Bill Simmons ain't listening to this podcast. But anyway, so I think if you know of the rewatchables or if you listen to an episode, I think you'll be able to hear the influence of that particular show on some of our earlier episodes, specifically like the category section, which they do with a bunch of different movies. But they talk about a particular movie each week.
Are you comparing us to a show that you hate?
No. I don't hate the show. I think Bill Simmons is a dork. Is what I said. So, but anyway, they cover a lot of classic movies, including a bunch of. They don't cover like deep cut horror stuff, but a lot of classics. So there's episodes on like Alien, Misery, Halloween, Zodiac, Seven, Predator, Insidious, The Exorcist, The Conjuring, etc., etc. If you like nerdy deep dives into movie history, it's a really cool listen. And he has some interesting guests on, which makes it a little bit more tolerable for me because then I just have to listen to Bill Simmons for 2 hours.
Is it tolerable?
It's tolerable.
Oh, it's quite tolerable.
Quite tolerable. So that's what I got.
Also,
Check
are
out,
we all fucking nerds? Like, what are you saying?
I never said that I wasn't a nerd. I said if you like.
Called that guy.
I'm a self-professed horror movie nerd. I'm saying if you like nerdy deep dives into movies. That's
No, you just
something
really
that you would like.
calling Bill Simmons like the biggest nerd.
No, I called him a dork.
A dork
and a
which is-
turd.
So
Yes.
is that different than a nerd?
They
What's
both-
a nerd?
they both equal-
Dork and nerd aren't they the same?
dork and turd equal nerd.
Yeah, maybe. Okay.
Yes,
Well,
correct. Nailed it.
anyway,
Moving on.
that's what I got. Matthew, you want to go next? I know you had a chance to watch Renfield.
Yeah, I watched Renfield last night. It was
What
pretty.
did you think?
It was pretty much what I expected. It was pretty funny, over the top, gory, Nicolas Cage movie. I enjoyed it. I'll definitely watch it again just to kind of digest it a little better because it's kind of a lot going on. It's
I
pretty
feel
ridiculous.
the same. I feel like I need to watch it
I was thrown off by some of the CGI gore, but the practical gore is very good when it's there. But some of the CGI gore is really shitty.
The blood splattering is like very cartoonish.
Yeah,
and
like when
yeah.
like the
Yeah.
like when he gets like sliced in the belly, it's very like
Yeah.
Oh,
it was, like,
yeah,
cartoonish.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
fuck, dude. And that was like early in the movie, so I was kind of like, dude, no.
Yeah.
So
it's gonna be this kind of movie.
But then like the Pope exploded. and I
Yeah, that was
alright, legit.
Cage is awesome in it. I feel like that's the most redeeming.
Yeah, and like
quality of the
his
movie, right?
makeup is like really fucking good. Like when he's like all decrepit and fucked up as
Yeah.
Dracula, like he hasn't eaten somebody in a long time.
Yeah.
I like the whole thing about like him having to eat bugs to kind of like be powerful and like
yeah.
it was interesting. It was cool. As a fan of the original Dracula and the whole story with him and Renfield, it was cool. A very very smart take, turning it into a bold take, turning it into a horror comedy that I think definitely for sure worked out.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
I feel like I would have enjoyed it much, much, much more had What We Do in the Shadows, the TV show, not absolutely crushed
Oh,
this exact
when's
thing.
that
for
next season coming out?
very soon, like in a couple weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait. Yeah.
I think is I don't have my. Sorry, smash. I haven't. I don't have Hulu anymore.
Well,
Now I'm like,
I don't
fuck,
think
gotta
Hulu has
hide
cracked down on password sharing, so you can
I have
always have
Hulu.
ours, but
It's
Oh,
cheap
some-
though.
It is like
There's the
$5.
ads.
Yeah.
So
All right,
Netflix.
what else you got?
Oh, shit.
Extra. So this was a movie I got in the mail that I ordered. It's an early 80s alien movie. Basically about an alien that comes down to Earth. This guy sees it and the thing fucking like shoots something into him. It's a lot like Slither in terms of like
Oh.
it finds a host. That host
Tentacles.
then finds a woman.
Ooh.
That woman then gives birth to
Movie sounds great.
something. Dude, honestly, it kind of starts, the first half is really good, and then it goes so fucking far off the rails. And it's like, if you were to think of anyone in the 80s doing a shit ton of cocaine and making an alien movie, this is it. Because, like, next thing you know, like, so basically, like, this kid's dad disappears, and then, like, they find this alien, this random dude gets fucked up by it. And then, like, this woman gets, like, impregnated by this guy. And then she gives birth to, like, a full-grown man, which is fucking crazy. That scene, I will say, the practical effects are insane.
Yo, that's nasty.
It's very fucked up.
Sounds awesome.
No, dude, it's, like, super not awesome at all. Like,
Super
it's
horrible.
haunting.
Sounds
Haunting.
like
And
I like
then,
this.
like, but then it like goes in like it replicates the dad that disappeared, but then like this little kid is seeing all of his toys come alive in his room. One of them is like a
Buzz Lightyear.
Jester toy, but it's like a little person, and it's causing all this mischief. And it's just, dude, it like turns into this like totally
That's
different
like a
fucking
weird
movie.
Yeah.
And
Toy
so
Story?
it's I was kind of thrown off by it, but I own it now, so that's good.
You didn't like it though?
Blind Buy. So I just have heard about it, but the first half really sells, and then the second half really fucking sucks.
That's annoying.
Okay.
It was whack. Another movie called Calvaire, which is on Shudder. I've been waiting for this movie to hit streaming service for a long time. With all the French extremity that has been available, this was the last one to really get there. It's about this musician, or performer, I should say, who goes on a trip back to his parents' house for Christmas in France, and he gets lost in the woods and basically is taken by like these backwoods fucking freaks. And this guy kidnaps him and basically just assumes his role being his wife who left him, and takes it from there. And he tortures him and degrades him and rapes him,
Uplifting.
and this, that, and the other thing over his anger for her leaving him.
Wow.
And it is fucking rough.
Sounds like a nice little movie.
Sounds like that black. Sounds like
Hey,
the
dude, French movies are
episode
no
3 of
joke,
Black
man.
Mirror. Like
Little
that's
bit.
legit.
Kind of.
Pretty close.
Oh,
Kind of.
don't spoil it.
Yeah,
dude.
don't ruin it for him.
But it's pretty fucked up. So I had been waiting to see this one. I knew it was coming to a streaming service in 2023. So I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to go out of my way. It has a really fucking cool release from one of the, I can't off the top of my head think of the company, but it's got a really fucking clean and mint Blu-ray release that I think I will add to my collection at some point.
The Collector.
What else? I did Threads. This was another movie that I just got, and this is
Threads.
probably going to be volume 4 of my Brutality series.
I definitely have to watch
Episode
that.
4 of the
yeah.
movie.
Yes,
Yeah,
Brutality
Brutality
4.
I have
is
like,
that
so
coming out
I'm
again?
kind of like pooling movies, and it's like kind of, you'll know when I like do a really fucked up movie that I was just in, like a bad mood that day. And just I'm like, just want to shove fucking violence down my throat. But this movie is really fucked up. This is one of the bleakest movies I think I've ever seen. I've seen it before. And basically what it's about, it takes place in the 80s. It was a fucking BBC TV release in Britain.
Yeah.
About
so
which is
interesting.
insane. I was talking to a guy that I know at work who's a big movie guy, and he was like, dude, BBC back in the day used to show full frontal nudity.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? I was like, because they started the video nasties. And he was like, yeah, it's backwards. They were super weird about it. So I was like, all right, that's interesting. I didn't know that. But it's about world conflict, basically, with Iran, Russia, this, that, and the other thing. And it's about London getting nuked. And the event of them being nuked, the aftermath of them being nuked from the beginning right off the rip, and then like 15 years later, how that fallout all plays out. And dude, it is just harrowing how fucked up that situation would be. And you're zoned in on like multiple different groups, and they do not pull any fucking punches. You have dead kids, you have people being burned alive, you have abortions, you have forced abortions, you have,
Jesus.
dude, like it's full blown like fucking chaos.
A good
that
time for the
happens.
whole family.
Yeah.
Sounds like black.
And it was crazy. Well, the thing is like and that's why I'm kind of pushing it onto this series I want to do, is because it was on TV.
That's wild.
And
that is insane.
I think that's crazy. And it really is such a shocking movie. And it just doesn't hold back. It keeps going and getting worse and worse and worse and worse until the final frame, which is just the most. You get there and you're like, and it ends, and you're just like, fucking holy shit, dude.
How long is this?
I think it's like 100. It's just below like 2 hours. It's like probably
Okay.
like 110.
All right. I
minutes.
didn't know if it was like one of the longer TV movies, like a
No. It's not like
extended out
ridiculous.
type
It's,
thing,
I
yeah.
think it's like between 90 and like 120.
Oh, okay. That's
So,
actually not. Yeah, that's not too intimidating. All right.
but it feels long because it's like drawn out. There's a lot to it. Yeah. So
Where's
I
that?
watched
Sorry, where's that streaming right now?
Tubi.
Tubi. Okay.
I think it's also on Shudder.
Dude, Tubi has fucking everything. Probably
Tubi
is on
does
Shudder,
have
too.
everything.
Yeah.
Tubi has
I'm
good
almost
stuff.
positive it's on Shudder too. But this is unavailable for a really long time, up until like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And
And it was on.
unknown.
Yeah.
Like people didn't know what it was. But it's definitely like in like today's kind of like political climate worldwide, it kind of holds a lot of weight.
Mm.
I watched it and like Sarah came in and was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna like put up with it," and she like made it like 10 minutes through. I was like probably like 45 an hour into the movie.
Like turn off.
Well, no, she was like, "Never mind, I'm gonna go watch like fucking
Something
Young
happened.
Sheldon or like
Yeah.
something fucking stupid." And so she was like, "Yeah, no, I can't do this."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
And then I watched. I talked about Renfield. I talked about Threads. I talked about fucking
Jeez,
Extra.
You watched a lot of shit.
Yeah, you did. Jesus.
But you didn't watch Black
give this
Mirror?
I think that was
give
it.
this man
Yeah.
9 days. He's
Yeah.
gonna watch some
All right.
shit.
I think that was it. Yeah.
Well, to piggyback off of your Calvert, I think you said came to Shudder recently, right?
Yeah.
So I want to point out you guys all should watch Unwelcome, which just came to Shudder as well. Which I rented that one on Amazon Prime like about a month or
I've
two
heard this
ago.
one's very good.
I loved it. It's one of my favorites so far this year. It's directed by the Irish director that directed Grabbers, that movie we covered on
that
this
movie was good.
podcast. Similar vibe, but darker. It's a good story. The less you know going in, the better. Go watch this movie on Shudder when you have a chance. Unwelcome, it's called.
The only other one I had was Friday the 13th as a rewatch.
Oh,
yes.
That's my like
Yep.
yearly start of the
There you
summer
go.
movie.
Yep.
Bro,
Summer camp.
wait a minute. You're forgetting like the most important movie that you watched last night. Matt streamed a movie called Herman last night, and that movie was very good. Did I
Domingo
tell you about that
Herman.
movie? Domingo Herman. Can I read you a series of text messages that
Jesus.
make me sound
This-
like the
this is
biggest
funny.
moron?
This is funny.
hilarious. So keep in mind, first
This is
text
early in the
message,
morning. This is-
6:06
Yeah.
a.m. Matt streamed Herman last night. No biggie.
Spelled German.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I spent like 5 minutes after you texted me that trying to search movies called
Is this a
German.
side text beyond the
Just
Uh,
me and him. I
Yeah,
texted
this
him.
is six.
Oh.
He's not texting you guys at 6:06 in the morning. He's texting me.
I knew he was up,
I had,
so I didn't
I
feel
had
bad.
been up
Yeah.
for like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I literally was taking a shit. And he's like, streamed Herman last night, no biggie. And I just, after searching Herman, because I couldn't get the fucking weird symbol over the A so that I could look it up. Never heard of that. Laughing my ass off. Oh, Domingo Herman? Domingo Herman from the Yankees. He threw a perfect game.
Yes, I did.
No
hear that,
shit.
Yeah.
How many points to that get you? 33. That's pretty solid right there. I was like, what fucking movie is that? Laugh out loud. Laughing my ass off. Caught you before your morning coffee / shit. I was literally on the shitter when you texted that.
Oh my
Laughing
God.
my ass off. Hell yeah. That's the conversation that happened between like 6 o'clock in the morning and 6:11.
6:10.
I was like,
Wait, it's like what
I was
German
like,
movie did
what-
you stream last night? What
what?
are you talking
What
about?
are you
Domingo
talking about?
German?
Yeah.
That guy? And I was like, Herman. I was like, that's.
I have to
It
say,
was a long.
That's pretty
con-
I had
great. That's
no
pretty awesome.
idea where
I
you were
love
going to
that.
go with that, and I'm actually glad you kind of told that story. That's pretty funny.
It made me laugh.
It
'cause
was funny,
It
dude.
took because I,
I laughed
literally
out loud
after
when
like
you said
after because I literally Googled Herman movies, but I couldn't get so it was just German movies and it was just a bunch of Hitler
Just
movies.
Nosferatu.
God,
Like,
fucking
no,
damn it.
dude. I was like the Yankees.
And then I was like,
pitch it
because I
for
was
a
like,
no-hitter,
I don't
and
want to be like
put 'em on
some
my baseball
loser.
team.
Like Matt knows about this movie.
Like,
Like,
I have no idea what movie you're talking
I can't
about.
believe that. I'm like, oh, I don't know about that movie. The pitcher.
Good.
And I was like, oh, but streaming a pitcher, that sounds.
Dude, hey, you know
There you
what?
go.
He threw no hitter, got me a bunch of points
There
for
you
my
go.
fantasy baseball team.
There you go.
Good for
Fantasy
you.
baseball talk
I
here
was
on
very
America's
proud.
Hometown Horror, folks. You'll get that on no other horror podcast. I can tell you that. Yeah, Andrew, what do you got for your watch
So we already
list,
talked
my
about
friend?
Black Mirror episode 3, so it's good. I finally watched The Fly.
Yes, I can't believe. Yeah, this is. I'm shocked. This is that you hadn't seen this before, but I'm happy you watched it.
It's
Dude, that
crazy
movie-
you haven't seen it.
So
Yeah.
fucking good.
I love that movie.
Dude,
It's fantastic.
When
It's fantastic.
When he finally starts turning into a fly after he had like all that lustful sex with everyone, it was just like extrapolating body fluids all over the place.
Yeah.
Ripping his fucking fingernails off.
Yeah.
Just
gross.
doing weird things, excreting fucking like
Yeah.
semen from your fingers. It's
Yeah,
fucking
disgusting.
weird.
Yeah.
But the scene where like Gina Davis finally comes to the house or the apartment and he's like just turning the fly and he's like eating food and he just was like, and just fucking
throwing up.
throws up, and he goes,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, that's kind of disgusting." I'm like,
Yeah.
I laughed so hard.
Yeah.
I just can't believe how long she's like going to his place.
Dude,
And she,
who the
like,
fuck's
he-
going
and
there?
He looks like that. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
like this guy's.
You need to call
sick.
the police.
Like,
Dude,
Yeah.
there's parts when she hugs him, and I'm like, oh,
Like I would
what
be
are you
so
doing?
scared that whatever's
Throwing-
happening
No,
to
I'd be
him
like,
is going to happen.
why are
to
you
me,
hugging
right?
this gross, gelatinous, fucking
Yeah.
weird
Yeah.
thing? And I'm like, ugh.
That's a movie
He's,
we
like,
need to
pulling
cover.
his teeth out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a movie we need to
That-
cover on
it's
this
a great
podcast for a full episode because I mean, dude, Jeff Goldblum is so good in that movie.
The Rick Baker effects are unmatched as well.
Yeah, very very gross practical effects, and Goldblum's awesome. I think it's my personal favorite Cronenberg movie. I think for sure.
It's up there for me.
Yeah.
I really like The Brood, and I like Videodrome.
Videodrome is a good one as well.
Vidya.
I also like some of his non-horror shit too. I really like History
Yeah.
of Violence. I really
History of
like
Violence is
Eastern
good.
Promises.
Eastern Promises,
Good
yeah.
stuff. But yeah,
Naked Lunch.
I'm glad.
History of
you,
Violence is extremely.
that's a great movie.
Viggo.
That's almost like that
Viggo
feels like that feels
Mortenstein.
like is that a comic book movie?
It's based on a graphic novel.
okay, yeah. That makes sense.
William
'Cause that's
Hurt-
like
William
Road to
Hurt in that
Perdition,
movie?
like, similar.
Fantastic.
Viggo Mortenstein.
Viggo
Like, what do you think's more
Mortenstein.
horror, Road to Perdition or A History of Violence?
Neither.
No, they're
Oh,
not
Road to
horror at all.
Perdition's
They're just
more horror.
violent movies.
Yeah, those are violent movies. Yeah, and those are both
Jude Law is
based on
such a
graphic
psycho
novels.
in that movie.
Yeah, he is a psycho. That's a great movie too. I love Tom Hanks in that movie too. Everybody's good.
Tom Hanks
Paul,
is
Paul Newman's in it.
That's
Great cast.
You talk about a better movie.
That movie flies so far under the radar. It's
I think
it's,
that's
it's
based on a
criminal.
book. If I'm not
Graphic
wrong.
novel.
Yeah.
Oh, duh.
Yep.
Okay.
What else you got besides The Fly? Anything good?
What was that? No,
No.
I just have a call to arms.
All right. Call to arms. Yes, as you already included on this podcast. That's wonderful.
Say that 15 times now. Call to arms.
There you go. A new segment that you came up with on the fly.
I feel like
love
Peter
it.
Griffin right now.
There you go.
You know what
Grinds my gears.
Yeah.
You Quahog. Fuck you. And she has returned. Catherine, anything to report on watch list things?
No.
No. Okay.
Fair
Which
enough.
means that we are moving on, folks. But before we do that, why don't we pause for a quick 90-second break from our sponsors? We'll be right back to talk about Donnie Darko.
Donald.
Donald.
Sleepy clovers. Time it's alive! It's alive!
The new face of evil is going to scare you to death. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. It's killer this year. Then be next door to the Abington Ale House. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. Eat, drink, and be scary. Go to bhmansion.com.
All right, we're back. And yeah, happy Cat Week to all who celebrate.
Woohoo!
We're talking about
It's
fuck
actually
is
it's
Cat
actually
Week?
Cat Month.
Cat
'Cause
Month.
it's the
still
end of Cat Month.
June. Yep,
Really?
it's still the month of
Oh,
June.
so you do like a whole month?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
my
of course
birthday's
she
the
does.
month
It's
of
still the
June.
month of Cat's birth.
I stopped caring like
Yes,
Don't tell
of course.
Seth
3
though.
weeks ago.
But yes,
But anyway.
I began my month with Return to Oz.
Why
and
can't we
I'm
tell
ending it
Seth?
Ending it.
Because Seth's
He
like
makes
you're-
fun of you
yeah.
because you celebrate your birthday for a month.
Seth's
Yes.
birthday
yeah,
was,
as
uh,
everyone would.
Seth's
Yeah.
birthday was yesterday.
Yes.
And he probably celebrated for an hour.
Yes.
Not even. Like
Yeah.
we didn't even do anything for
Yeah, I
Seth's
know.
birthday.
How old did Seth turn?
39, I think.
Fucking
Yeah.
loser.
Old piece of shit.
Which
He's gonna get me on
old
that
piece
one, dude. Next time I see him, if he listens to this,
I know,
he's
right?
like, listen, motherfucker.
To
I will
end.
promise
He's
you
10
one thing,
years
he's
older than
not
me.
He's
listening
definitely
to
not
this
listening. He's not gonna
podcast.
listen.
No.
So that motherfucker
but yeah.
can suck a fuck.
Suck a fuck.
He
Suck
just
a
show
fuck.
up on the job site tomorrow. He's like, what the fuck?
Exactly
was
how
that
do
all
you
about,
how
dude?
does one suck
Suck a
a fuck?
Speaking of which,
Good segue.
that means we are talking about, we're ending Cat Month with Donnie Darko. Kid.
Fucking
Yeah,
Kid.
Donnie Darko.
Take
which-
on Aggie, doing
Another movie that Kat's been kind of clamoring to talk about for quite a while. And I mean, you could probably argue that this is one of the biggest cult movies of all time. I
Yeah,
think.
it's got to be, right?
It's got to be in the conversation.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm shocked that you had never seen it.
Yeah,
I feel like
that was
I-
wild.
That is weird.
I
Somehow
thought that
I'd
was
never seen
so
it
weird.
until yesterday, and I can't believe that I hadn't because I actually really enjoyed this movie quite a bit.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
I was curious how you were gonna like this one.
I
like
think it's a funny movie.
Yeah, I quite
A
enjoyed it. I
lot
would
of
say.
just
Um,
weird elements.
It's yeah.
before
weirdly
bef-
funny.
I'll defer to Kat because she picked it, but I would just say I just kind of liked the whole vibe of it,
Yeah.
which is it's like I know it came out in 2001, so it's like 2 years removed from being a 90s movie. It feels like a 90s movie
It's 100% a 90s
that's
movie.
nostalgic for
Feels
the
like a
80s.
TV movie.
Like
Yeah.
it feels like like this is a John Hughes movie that he wrote like Holden Caulfield into from Catcher in the Rye
Wow.
and turned it into a fucking dark sci-fi thriller.
Cellar
It's just got a
door.
very
That's the coolest way I've ever heard this movie described in my whole life.
strange concept, but it's very well executed. And I think I'm not really sure I understood what the hell was going on, which apparently,
Time travel.
very recently, Jake Gyllenhaal and Seth Rogen both have come out and said that they still don't really know if they understand what happened in this movie. But hey, you don't always have to have
That makes 3 of
a
us.
complete idea of what's going on to have a good time
It's
watching
pretty
this
simple.
movie. Well,
Nice.
again, we can get to all that, but I mean, awesome cast.
I thought
You
it
have
was-
both of the Gyllenhaals, Jenna Malone, Drew Barrymore, Patrick Swayze, Noah Wyle. Very awesome. And also, so the guy who plays Frank is Randy Quaid's son from Independence Day.
God, yes.
Yes.
His son?
Yes. No. He's not actually Randy Quaid's son. He plays Randy Quaid's character's son in Independence Day.
Oh, yes. That is
That's the
100%
guy,
who that is.
right?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And oh my God, the
God.
soundtrack to this movie. I mean, Andrew
Yeah.
I
knows.
fucking
told
He was
you.
at the shop with me earlier today.
I
I've been
told
singing,
you 2 weeks ago, I
yeah.
said, you'll love this soundtrack.
I've been
Yeah.
singing Head Over Heels all day today.
Song
and
fucking
any movie that dedicates 2.5 straight minutes to that song with no dialogue and just things happening around a weird high school gets my
It's just
fucking
kids
attention.
doing key bumps.
Yep.
at their locker.
Dude, Seth Rogen just doing cocaine. Like,
Dude,
yep,
the guy
fucking-
that got hired to do
wild.
the soundtrack got
Yeah.
paid like nothing, and
Yeah.
he rewrote like Mad World.
Yeah.
That was like a
Yeah.
cover that he did,
Yep.
which is fucking awesome.
It's a
His
great-
it's a
cover
great
is
cover.
So good. Like,
Um,
gotta give props to that guy.
But I mean, I love 80s new wave. I mean, we talked about me going to the Cure last week, so I love this style of music. But you get some awesome like new wave music in here. You get the movie opens with Killer Moon by Echo and the Bunnymen. You get In Excess, Joy Division, Duran
Fantastic
Duran,
soundtrack. I told
and a
you
couple
this.
of Tears for Fears. But obviously, the creme de la creme is Head Over Heels by Tears for Fears, which I fucking love. More on the Mad World cover later on. But yeah, I really dug this movie a lot, and I feel like I was just this was one of those movies that people in college that I didn't like always talked about. I thought it was like
one of those people
the
that you didn't
biggest, like,
that
oh
I-
my God, bro,
Yeah.
like, dude, take a bong hit and watch Donnie
That's
Darko. bro.
me.
I
That's
agree with
what
you
I do.
because
Yeah.
I was always flooded with people
Yeah.
being like, dude, you just don't get it.
You don't
And
get
I'm
it,
like,
man.
yeah, dude, no shit.
So yeah, I
The
just
number one reason why I watched this movie was because the only person
You
that I
had
would
to for the
never
podcast.
expect to give me this movie as a suggestion. It was like 2002. I was like 16.
yeah, you mentioned this. That's
And
right. Yeah.
my dad texted me and he was like, "You have to watch Donnie Darko." I was like, "All right, cool."
That's
I was
interesting.
like, "This loser."
Yeah.
So
you
epic.
don't watch
Yeah.
shit. You don't watch any good.
Yeah, but I guess
I was like, "Yeah, okay."
I resisted for that reason. So I did see it. I did
I don't
enjoy
know
it.
what you were resisting for.
I know. Yeah.
I'm
well,
going
you
to
didn't watch it
Donnie
because
Darko
oh
Cafe.
never mind.
no,
Yeah,
not
okay.
because of Jeff. Just because a lot of
I'm
people.
gonna bring it up to Hefe next time I see him.
Yeah,
A lot-
but
a
if
lot
Jeff
of-
told you to watch that movie, you
I
don't.
probably would have, but yeah, a lot of pretentious people that I didn't like that thought they were way smarter than they actually were always, you know,
He would have been like
waxing
Mike, you
poetically about
really
this
like
movie,
this movie.
so-
Jake Gyllenhaal's hair is perfect.
Jake Gyllenhaal is. I've really come to like him as an actor a lot.
Jake
recently.
Gyllenhaal's
He's-
got that perfect boy's regular
Yeah.
haircut.
Nightcrawler,
so anyway,
phenomenal.
Nightcrawler's
Yeah,
fantastic.
Prisoners,
we can talk-
creepy movie.
We can
dude.
talk a little bit more about Gyllenhaal's roles coming up in a little bit, but Kat, I
Oh.
want to hear your
I
thoughts
like
on
that guy.
why you picked Donnie
that guy.
Darko. This definitely, on first watching, doesn't necessarily strike me as a you movie. I'm kind of surprised.
So I was one of those people
Yes.
that would tell you to take a bong rip.
Take a bomb.
A bomb Rick.
Take
Bomb
a-
trap. Can't say that.
No,
Get saved.
a bong
trap.
rip and watch Donnie Darko because that's exactly what I did. Like
Yeah.
that was what. It's one of those movies. There were certain
Be
movies. that was-
careful, your mother.
I was
might
gonna
be
say, does your
listening to
mom
this.
listen to
No,
this
she does not listen to this podcast.
Your mom not do this. Ripping
that
butts,
was-
kid.
No.
It's like, what are
You
you
just
doing?
got visibly.
Yeah, you're tense
shaking
now,
it.
dude. I'm gonna send this to fucking
All right,
Mara, or whatever her name
Hold,
is. I can't remember.
please. Let's reel it in.
Martha.
Cat
Fucking
Donnie Darko.
So
mommy.
it's one of
Mommy
those
Darko.
basic movies you watch in when you're in like college and you're 20, whatever, and it was in that time period, and that was like
I
one of
didn't
those
go
movies
to
you have on.
college.
You have one of those movies you have on rotation, like this. Requiem for a Dream was on rotation. Crash, like
Jeez,
those
dude, you had some
movies. Were,
fucking
Fucking bleak
Oh,
ass
yeah,
movies,
yeah.
dude. Oh, Requiem for a Dream. Best movie
what
I've-
dreams? What dreams may come Mom.
Also another
Yes.
fucking great.
I watched a
uplifting
lot
movie.
of those
The
when I
fuck
was in
movies are
college.
you watching?
Yeah,
and, those,
that was-
and like Return to Oz, and you're
yes,
like, yeah, I love these movies.
Yeah,
They're so
exactly.
weird.
Yeah, I
I'm gonna
watched
just
all these,
fucking
yeah.
kill myself.
There was
Cool.
what was the other
what the
one?
fuck
There was
movies are you talking about? The worst, most depressing movies I've ever heard
those.
of.
Yeah,
These are my go-tos.
yeah.
Yeah,
I guess it's good
Requiem for a
motivation.
Dream.
Not to
Requiem for a
pop
Dream.
out.
Their soundtrack is phenomenal.
The Requiem for a Dream soundtrack is
Insane.
arguably the best soundtrack of any movie I've
Yeah.
ever heard
I
in my
mean,
life.
I
It's
gotta go.
amazing.
For in terms of like the actual score of the
Yes.
movie.
Oh,
Mm.
the score.
Like the winter. Oh
Yeah.
my god, I could listen.
I
to
don't know.
that
Hellraiser
over
It's
and over.
devastating,
score, pretty
dude.
good.
I don't know, man. Requiem for a Dream is devastating.
Yeah, that's a fucked up.
I just
movie.
can't give Jared Leto
Yeah.
credit for anything.
Dude, that's
And not Return to Oz, Dark Side of Oz.
Dark
so
Side
you'd
of
watch
Oz. There you
you'd
go.
watch the Pink Floyd thing with the Wizard
Yes,
of Oz. It was
yes.
you
Yeah.
sunk it up. It was great. But
All right.
yes, no, I think this was it was a fun movie to watch with friends if you were just
Dude.
hanging out. Like I've seen it a billion times. It's funny watching it now because I don't think I've watched it like since college.
so if
Dude,
you've seen
I didn't
it
even
so many
remember this
times, do you
movie.
know what the
Kind
fuck?
of.
Do
You
know-
you just
I-
remember
I'm-
this movie and went, this movie's cool, and then you were like, I hadn't even watched it, and you're like, oh, the fuck am I watching? And you're
I'm
like, I gotta
banking on you
rewatch
for an
the whole movie.
explanation because I've seen this movie probably like 6 times and I don't know what the fuck it's about.
Oh, it's simple.
He's a schizophrenic.
Right.
Well, he's obviously
Right.
a schizophrenic.
That's
they
it?
tell you that's not
There's
the
cle-
movie.
well, there's
That's not the movie.
Okay, well we can get to what it's
Sorry.
actually about, but just yeah.
Sorry.
So,
It's about
is
time
there anything that
travel.
when you were watching it that you like that continues to draw you back to this movie that made you want to pick it, or is it just because you were
It's just
nostalgic
it's
for
a
it from
nostalgic-
college?
It's a
Yeah.
nostalgic favorite.
Okay.
And it is.
Yeah.
And it's got a great
Absolutely.
soundtrack.
Yes.
does have a
and
great
And
it's a good,
sometimes
it's a good movie.
You have triples of certain cars.
But there's a pattern for the movies that I like. You know, we talk about Scream.
New Seinfeld.
We talk about-
I've got the triples.
Different like
but they
teenage
have
horror
triples.
slasher films. Those are like right up my alley. I love
Mhm.
this. Like
Yeah.
that's,
You're very like
Very
late
basic.
90s,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
mid
Yep.
2000s.
that's my
That's
my
your
wheelhouse.
that's your wheelhouse.
Like,
yeah.
It's like
All right.
super basic.
Yeah.
Everyone,
Into Saw,
yeah.
also torture porn, that whole like
Yep.
era.
You
I
just
do
like
like that you
See-
sneak that in there though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you
Oh,
have
'cause
these
it's
like
in
very
there,
like
too.
tame movies, and then you're also like, well, we could do Hostel.
But
Hostel.
Hostel,
Saw.
absolutely.
Yeah.
let's do
Saw
No,
that.
that's
15.
100% correct though, because
Yeah.
she just
I mean, like, I could definitely watching this movie see what you're talking about because this movie clearly, like, I think was influenced by Scream. There's certain
Of
elements
course.
that you can see in both movies. I
Wait,
feel like
when
the
did
high
Scream
school
come out
element,
versus-
96. Yeah,
Oh,
96.
okay. And this was
Darko
out-
was 2001.
And this guy
It came
wrote
out
it or
directly
directed
after
it?
September 11th.
So he wrote and directed this
Scream. But he
No, no.
also had a part on Scream.
No.
No, is he not the guy?
movie. No.
What was
Who
I
are you
watching?
talking about?
No, there was someone else. I can't remember.
So
what
this
it was.
movie's written and directed by a guy named Richard Kelly, who honestly has not gone on to do very much since. That's very popular.
He's got something on there. It's like 2011.
Okay, but this is clearly his biggest movie, I think, by far. But what
Yeah.
I'm saying is,
Yeah.
I think there's similarities between Scream and this, which I know how much you love Scream. I can see how you like.
So
it in
he
that
had
sense.
no role in Scream.
Very high school oriented.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's
That's
kind of
weird.
my
Who the
vibe.
fuck
Like
was
in
I
the
looking at?
Outbreak, like that weird zombie series that I watched that was like high schoolers with all these zombies around. Whatever. It was on Netflix. I think I watched the whole thing.
Mhm.
It was good. Outbreak. It was called. I think Daybreak.
Dave, I don't.
I forget what it was.
I don't know with
Dawn
Matthew
Breakers.
Broderick in it.
You
don't even know who that is. I don't know who
I
you
know
are.
who Matthew
Daybreakers
Broderick- Wait,
is,
Matthew Broderick was in the producer.
Yeah.
And he was
Yes.
Ferris Bueller.
And he's yes.
Yeah.
Inspector
I know who that is.
Gadget.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's married to Sarah Jessica Parker.
Godzilla.
Woof.
The horse. Yeah.
Donkey
Or-
Witch.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. All right, so
Mr.
Good.
Ed.
well, I'm glad we're ending Cat Month on a high note for you, Cat.
Yes. I think this movie's cool.
Okay.
I always have, and
Cool movie.
it's a go to, and it's nostalgic for me. So
Yeah. Nice.
I liked it, and someone mentioned. Oh, I did. So
a mensch.
I
Yep.
did this to myself. I picked this movie because it was that sleep.
I told you to
movie,
watch Come True.
Come True.
watched it.
And I
Very
watched
good
it,
movie.
and
You
then
liked it.
it reminded me. I was like, oh, I should watch Donnie Darko because it's
Yep.
kind
You
of
watched another
like
dream
this.
movie. Yeah, you were like a dream movie. Yeah.
So I ended up making one connection with the other, and then I didn't finish it. And then I was like, "Oh, we should talk about that on the podcast. That's actually a really great movie."
Well, I'm
Whether
glad,
it's
I'm glad we
horror
are
or
because
not,
I probably
yes.
never would have watched this
Question.
movie if you hadn't suggested.
I
it.
can't
yeah.
believe you haven't seen
That's
it.
I know.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
surprised you've
Yeah.
never
That's
seen
shocking.
wild.
Sometimes you can't see everything. So this was one of those movies for me.
You can't see everything.
Slip
You could
through
absolutely see
the
this.
cracks.
Okay. All right.
You think
Well,
that you,
sure.
you just have this?
I also hadn't seen
I-
The Fly.
I missed-
so
I
can't
missed
see
the
it.
I don't
book.
think I've seen.
I don't
You
get to
know
see
Or
what you
Carrie.
haven't seen?
Yeah. I
have no interest.
That's,
Watch
I
Carrie.
mean,
Yeah, you
yeah.
should watch Carrie. You should watch Carrie. Matt, I know you own this movie, right?
Mhm.
So you definitely have an affinity for this movie as well.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Here
we go.
Yeah.
I'm the
Here comes a hot
color.
take. Here comes the straw that stirs the drink.
Yeah, I don't like this movie very much.
Really? All right.
That's weird.
All right.
It's not a bad movie by any means, but I've just never been able to grab on to what the fuck it's about. And I get like, so I was saying in the chat earlier, I was like, I have an angle, and it definitely has a lot to say about the danger of unchecked mental illness. And I think that's an important part of this whole like character study of Donnie Darko.
Sure.
Because it's like, dude, he's like burning people's houses down. He's
Right.
like, he's doing insane
And
shit.
he's going to therapy and
But the
saying
thing
he
is
has
that
to
every
And
one
he's-
of the
yeah.
things that he
Yeah.
does,
But it's just like
accomplishes a
it's
purpose.
going
treated.
treated.
Like,
yeah, because
like-
it accomplishes some sort of purpose every time he does it.
Yeah.
So everything he
well,
does
he thinks it
makes
is.
sense. It's more like this movie feels like the Mothman.
But I was
It's
confused
like
because
fucking-
like I was like, what the fuck is this movie about? And you're just saying it's like he just has schizophrenia. And it's like, is that all it is? It's just like
No.
that's it? Because it's like it feels like you're kind of wrapped in the outside of him.
That's also
And
true.
you're watching outside looking into him having this, but everyone else is also experiencing all this weird shit. But then they're not, but they are, but they're not, but they are, and it's just like it's strange. And I've always been like, dude, what the fuck
then
is
is
this
that-
movie about?
maybe it's
whole
showing that just
idea
because
what's going on.
everyone's brain works different,
yeah,
possibly, and like everyone,
but it's all this like
everyone
quantum
interprets
physics
things.
shit.
Yeah, but
and,
maybe
like,
that's just how we all work. We're all fucking out there. Our brains are all fucking scrambled in the universe.
But it's just
And
like I
doesn't
never.
mean any one of us is crazy.
Every
It's-
time I've watched, I've always watched this movie in like 6 years in apart. Anytime I've watched it, it's never been like I watch it and then like the next week I'm like, all right, I'll give this. Let me watch this again and
Well,
figure.
why
out.
would you?
I'm like, I watch it and then like years go by and then I'm like, it's on TV. I watch it again. It's like I've owned the DVD. I've probably popped it in twice. One being when I bought it and one being when I watched it last week. I own the director's cut. So I don't know if that makes a difference.
Ooh,
It's
that's
2 hours and
interesting.
13
Makes
minutes
you a
long.
little cool.
So that's definitely about 15, 20 minutes longer than the cut that's on HBO Max or Max now because it's about
Okay.
an hour and 54 minutes.
Um,
Yes.
It's a long
Good.
movie.
Long.
It is.
Yeah,
dude.
I was not
It-
expecting it to be as
2
long as it
You,
was.
you
Yeah.
fucking feel every minute of it.
It drags a
And,
little bit at certain points. Yeah.
But it's like the other thing too is like I don't know if it was because it's on DVD or if it's just the quality that it was made, but I was like, dude, I feel like I'm watching like a TV movie.
Well, here's the problem. You're watching an independent film movie from the year 2001 when independent films weren't getting funded for shit.
Yeah, they're
So
cool.
this movie is what they do with what they have for
Yeah.
a resource. Like they do a really good job. The soundtrack fucking kicks. The
Mhm.
guy that did the soundtrack got paid fucking pennies, and he did a cover of Mad Mad World. Like that's his
Yeah.
cover. That's
Yeah.
not the actual song.
It's a good cover. It's a
And
really
he
good
did
cover.
a really good cover.
The other thing too, this movie's a lot funnier than I remember.
Oh, this movie's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
I,
It's
I
pretty
laughed out
funny.
loud at like several parts.
Oh,
And then you
God.
kind of
It was
also
so-
like, should I be laughing?
I was like,
at
yeah,
that?
I don't think I'm allowed to
yeah.
laugh at
I don't think
that,
I can laugh at that, but
I
there's some
laughed
things
anyway,
that are
but
was that the go back to
so many,
any
so
of
many
it, but,
things.
like,
Yeah, there's
this
a lot
movie
of
could
parts. of that movie.
never be made.
No,
I like your
no.
boobs.
I like your boobs.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen said that.
only
Yeah.
line in the movie.
So next time he complains about being woke, let's just
Yeah.
remind him. I remember what you said.
Oh, he knows. He's
Oh, yeah.
he's very open
He
to
knows.
that. But
He knows.
it's just always been funny. I like watch this movie. I'm like, dude, like.
What life
Like, what
used
the
to be
fuck
like.
is this? Like, what is
Yeah.
happening? Like,
Yeah.
what is this rabbit and like why? Like, it's just I'm so grounded in like movies that I watch and like understanding them, and I'm so into understanding movies that I get frustrated by not understanding movie, and I think that's why I'm like, I don't
I think
fucking
it's
like this movie. This movie
If I
defeated me, and I'm like, I don't fucking
interpreting
get it,
this
dude.
movie.
I don't know if I'm overthinking it.
I
or
think
like,
you're
what.
overthinking
Maybe
it because
I
I
might
think
be.
it's very
It's
simple.
really
Am I
not.
wrong in thinking?
So
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't think
there's a
it's-
lot out there. Like you can go on Reddit and look it up, but like I've seen theories that he's that Donnie is an allegory for Jesus Christ and
Way
like
too
all
much.
kinds of
We're
weird
getting
shit.
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
control.
No,
Yeah.
this is.
But if it's
Out of
just
control.
him just having
this is a simple.
schizophrenia,
It's a simple story of a guy.
but you're
that's-
on his wavelength, then it's like,
No,
all right,
it's
like,
a,
I guess I get
it's
that.
just him.
Or the whole thing is a
It's-
dream that
I-
he has before he gets crushed by a jet engine.
Well, even at,
No,
even
it's
at the-
not any of
Hold on.
those things.
At
It's
the-
so
wait,
simple.
wait,
Yeah.
At the end, there's that clip where it says the next date, and then it's a woman that wakes up from a dream. So is the whole thing a dream?
No, yes. The whole thing is reality. The fact of the matter is that Jake Gyllenhaal's character is realizing that he's a schizophrenic fucking lunatic. And he's realizing that the world is a better place without him.
Mhm.
So that's his whole ability. You see the fucking bunny rabbit. He comes. He's intercepting him. All these bad things are happening. Patrick Swayze's getting arrested for being some fucking creep, which is a good thing. That should happen. His girlfriend gets run over by a car at the end of the movie.
Driven by...
And he realizes that if he was just at home when the jet engine fell out of the sky and crushed him, the world would be a much better place.
All
without
these
him.
things would...
All he's realizing is he's sacrificing himself. He is like a Jesus Christ character.
So
He's
I
a
understand.
martyr.
I understand.
Okay.
So basically, when he realizes all this, he time travels back into his bed
And
the night
lets
the jet
himself
engine crashed
die, and he
lets himself be
stays in his
killed.
bed. Yes,
So
he
what-
realizes
Okay.
that the world's better
All right.
without him.
Now, see,
Wait.
there we go.
Because he's a
Yes.
narcissist.
Yes.
Yes, he's a
Okay.
narcissist.
All
He's
right.
fucking.
As
Or
any
not,
martyr would be.
he's a nihilist, is what he is.
Okay.
Okay, interesting. So, okay, that
So in the
I think that
bigger
clears up
picture-
most of the questions I had for me.
In the-
That's
me
actually,
too.
yeah.
In the bigger
Way to go,
picture,
Andrew.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the bigger
I think
picture,
that's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
right? No?
it's the mind. It's the mind of someone who's about to commit.
I've also
suicide.
seen this movie 4 times, so I think I finally figured it.
That's literally.
think that's
It's almost as if it's like.
It's like if
mind-
you had the opportunity
It's-
to save yourself or save everyone around
Right.
you that matters, what would you
But
choose?
it is-
Would you choose yourself or those around you? And Donnie Darko is a martyr.
So
He
it's-
chooses to save everyone else.
So you're in the mindset then of committing suicide, thinking that you're going to save everyone
He's not
else.
committing suicide. He's just letting fate happen. He would have died if Frank didn't lead him
He's
away.
letting himself
Frank
die.
led him away to show him what would happen if you stayed alive. Here's what happens if you're alive. You meet this girl, awesome, great. You meet this girl, and then she eventually gets run over by a car.
Yeah, so
Your
he's
family
saving
has
her
these
life.
awful things. Her mom and his sister die in a
On the
plane crash, but that doesn't happen because he steps
saves
in
them.
and lets it happen. So he's a martyr. Yeah, he's essentially a martyr. Yeah, it's not wrong. You're right.
Yeah, that's a very interesting way to look at it, and I think that's a good explanation for it. But yeah, there's a lot out there. So if you want to do some like Reddit sleuthing and deep diving into like more on this movie, you can certainly find a lot of shit. And
What were you going to say?
yeah, what were you talking? What were you?
I was kind of in the mindset that he was then like a schizophrenic who was literally debating whether he was going to commit suicide or not. And that's
It's one way to look at it
what
too.
you weigh.
Mm.
That's
I
like
that,
the different
too.
scenarios
Yeah,
that you
it's
weigh.
It's
And he
open
decided to commit
options.
suicide so that he would save
Yeah.
his family.
For
No, if not even just for that, for the like burden that he knows that he already has on his family.
Yeah.
I think he got
because-
shown what the world would be like when he's there.
Right.
And then he also got
exactly.
shown, so he didn't even get shown what the world wouldn't be like with him there, but he
But
knew
he
that
knew
if
it
he
would
was
be-
there, the world would be worse. So
Right.
he gave up his life. He
Exactly. That's
Wow.
what I mean.
Damn, dude. Yeah, I just never fucking grabbed that.
Yeah.
Atta boy, Andrew. Good job. But yeah, I think that's a good explanation. But like you said, I feel like a lot of people watch
open
this
for interpretation.
and exactly, it's open for interpretation, which I think again makes not only just like with Under the Skin,
But it's a
makes
big,
for a good podcast discussion, a good movie because it means different things to different people.
but it's also a good statement on mental health. Like
Yeah, so
Well,
this
mental
is
health,
the
yeah.
angle that I was talking about earlier. Is like literally, it goes to show that like I said, untreated mental health is
Yeah.
dangerous.
absolutely.
It's and like you see in the news, dude. Like there's so many
the
things
time.
every fucking day. It's like this person broke into this house and killed 3 people. They've been struggling with mental health, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
where the fuck? Why are they
Right.
doing what they're like?
Well,
why are they doing what they're doing?
Obviously, that's a
Like-
huge issue, and I feel like that aspect in and of itself really hurt this movie in terms of the marketing when it came out because obviously I think one of you guys mentioned the impact that the September 11th attacks had on this with
Right.
with the
It
jet
being
engine
a plane
crashing.
crash,
Obviously,
yeah.
that was a huge thing.
I mean,
Another thing
Yeah, they had
you have to
no idea
remember:
that
this
was
is
gonna-
2001, so we're less than 2 years removed from Columbine. So the fact that you see Jake Gyllenhaal, a high school student,
Yeah.
shooting
Yeah.
guns and aiming guns in this, that really,
that also
really kind of
too.
I can see
was
that,
off-putting
but
to a lot of people trying to market this movie. So it really had no support behind it when it actually was getting pushed out.
Can we say this is like the original OG like A24 movie? If there was ever going to be an
I mean,
A24 movie,
yeah, I guess
It's not
so.
a bad
Kinda.
call. Not a bad call.
Kinda.
should have been.
Yeah. Kind of.
could have been.
Yeah.
It
Should've,
wasn't.
would've
Like
been.
this is the most indie
Coulda,
movie
woulda,
I've ever
shoulda
seen
been.
with the most star-studded fucking cast you'll ever find.
The cast is great, and I mean, it's 2001, so a lot of people earlier in their careers, but like, I mean, geez, Seth Rogen had to be right off like doing like Freaks and Geeks, right?
100%.
Like really, really young.
But you got Patrick Swayze,
Patrick Swayze, yeah,
I
rest in
know.
peace.
Drew Barrymore.
It
Drew
was so
Barrymore
funny.
fucking hot.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
she
about
looks like she was ready
I
to
was like,
fuck her fucking
"Jeez,
students.
dude."
I was like, she ready to fuck.
That's about as
Yeah.
good as she's ever looked, I think.
Yeah.
And it's funny that, like, when Jenna Malone first comes to the classroom, she's like, sit next to the boy that you find the cutest.
What a weird.
Yeah,
thing to
Yeah.
say.
weird.
What a
So-
fucking.
very
yeah.
strange.
You couldn't
So
say that
that's
nowadays.
like-
Could you imagine?
That's so like 90s Cruel Intentions, like
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
weird, like vibe there.
Yeah.
Dude,
that
Sarah
was-
Michelle LaFleur.
Yeah.
Sarah Michelle
Gellar, yeah.
You can tell me all the 90s movies. I got all of them.
Yeah.
Ryan Felipe.
That's my wheelhouse.
Ryan
That's
Felipe
my
was in
wheelhouse.
that?
Yes. Philippi? Not
Oh,
Felipe. but
jeez.
that's okay.
So speaking
I
of
think
Drew
even
Drew
Reese
Barrymore,
Witherspoon-
I believe
Reese Witherspoon, they're fucking
one of the
spoon
production
face.
companies that backed this movie was actually Drew
Hers,
Barrymore's production company called Flower Films,
Wow.
which is one of the reasons that she was in the movie is because her production company was backing it. But
Wow.
she was good in it, and I'm not
She
typically
was.
the
I mean, can
biggest
you think
Drew
of any
Barrymore
movie
person.
that has like bigger names than this one?
I mean, define an indie movie, I guess, and I'd have to think about it. But the cast is great. I mean, you get Jake Gyllenhaal
Yeah,
it's
very
not
early
only
in
if
his
I saw a
career.
list in front of me, I'm 100% sure I could pick up
Yeah.
5 movies.
I don't know. You got Jake and Maggie, which I
Who
think
no
the
one
fact
knew
that
who the fuck they were.
at that
Yeah.
point in
Right,
time, yeah. But I
no.
think that's
Yeah.
what made their brother-sister relationship so much better.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Maggie Gyllenhaal looks like a fucking dog.
What?
Maggie Gyllenhaal looks like a dog.
A dog.
Now?
Yeah, she's a
I
sad.
was gonna say,
she's like a sad cocker
she was
spaniel.
definitely cute.
Nobody
She was
wants
cute
to
in
look
this
at.
She was
movie.
cute in this, but
Yeah.
I
She
feel
was
like
cute
she
in this.
single-handedly ruined The Dark Knight. Parts of The Dark Knight.
And all of a sudden, she turned into a cocker spaniel.
Yeah.
Fucking, I don't know.
What?
Shit
Uh,
happens. She looks like a dog.
but yeah.
dog.
So yeah, I mean the cast is
dog.
definitely stacked. I mean, dude, when's the last time you saw Noah Wiley in anything?
He was in that show I was watching.
Falling Skies.
Yes,
That's right.
that show.
Falling
Yeah,
Skies.
he was in Falling Skies.
Yeah, he used to be on ER. I mean,
Him and
yeah.
Anthony Edwards.
Cool
Fucking
cast. Cool cast for sure.
Dunkin' Baskets.
So this movie again written and directed by Richard Kelly. Something interesting. The movie was filmed over a period of 28 days, which was how long the movie actually takes place
yeah,
over.
and that's the death count.
Yep,
28 days, 12 hours, 6 minutes,
Yep.
and
pretty cool.
something.
So I mentioned earlier that we were going to come back to something about Christopher Nolan. And here it is. So at one point, it looked like this film was going to be released directly to video, and it wasn't going to get a theatrical release. So basically, at one point, it looked like it was
Sorry.
going to go directly to home markets, and Christopher Nolan and his wife, Emma Thomas, attended a screening of this movie, and immediately, when the curtain went up, this is directly from Richard Kelly, the writer and director. He said, when the lights came up, Nolan and his wife both turned to the New Market executives, which was the production company, looked over at them, and they nodded and said, they said, you guys need to distribute this movie. So Christopher Nolan was influential in getting this movie distributed, which I thought was a pretty
This
interesting
movie
thing.
fucking slaps.
Yeah.
So that's not surprising.
Yeah. Pretty cool stuff. And then movie premiered in January 19th, 2001 at the Sundance Film Festival, followed by a very limited theatrical release in October of the same year. Already mentioned the stuff about September 11th and Columbine. But the box office, so this was a $4.5 million budget and just made just $517,000 in its initial box office
Woof.
run. So
Mike, how much of the Halloween element of this movie, like,
that was one of the things I meant to throw in there for the vibe, because I thought that was also the fact that it takes place around Halloween. Obviously, that's a huge thing for me that automatically I'm drawn in there.
I felt
But updated box office numbers. So again, $4.5 million budget. It's made a total of $7.5 million worldwide. So not by any
it's
means
taken
this
the-
huge
but
box
it's a
office
phenomenal
success,
movie.
but it returned its money.
That was I was gonna say,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt. That one of the first things in the first scenes of Donnie Darko when they did the Halloween thing, I was like, oh, Mike's gonna instantly love this. I forgot about that. Like I was
I
like,
thought you were gonna love
the
this
minute
movie
you
just
say
because of the
Halloween, it's
soundtrack.
like,
I was
oh,
like,
yeah,
loves this
yeah.
oh, it's Halloween. It takes place
Halloween,
in Halloween.
80s music. I love
Yeah.
it. I'm into it all over the place. What else was I gonna say? So basically, this was interesting, and I thought this was really, really strange. So the director, Richard Kelly, came up with the idea for the futuristic blobs, like the time travel blobs,
Yeah.
while watching
Tremors?
football.
Oh.
Watching
Oh.
John Madden illustrate
sense.
on a teleprompter on TV. That's fucking so weird.
That's weird,
Right?
Yeah.
Like pointing.
So
to,
basically,
this
like,
guy's gonna go
yeah,
here.
I mean, it makes
Madden
sense.
was using the telestrator to like diagram a paused video to show where the players were about to go moments before, and he was watching this while he was high, and he started.
I mean,
to
that
think
makes
Oh my
about-
god,
perfect
that
sense.
makes
right?
absolute
And he
sense.
started to think about what would happen hypothetically if someone upstairs, like quote unquote upstairs, like in the heavens, was doing this to people. And basically,
That's so funny.
And the first time that Donnie actually notices the first blob is coming out of his dad's stomach
While
when
he's
they're
watching football, John
the
Madden and Pat
Washington
Summerall. Yeah.
football team or the Redskins or what are they now? The
Commanders?
It was the
right?
Redskins
Commanders.
in
It was
1988,
the Redskins
yeah.
back then, back when they were fresh off a Super Bowl win.
Doug Williams, baby.
Yeah. So we talked about the soundtrack to this extensively here, right? So obviously, and I think one of the most iconic pieces of music to come out of this is the cover of Mad World by Tears
What a
for Fears,
cover.
right?
Yeah.
Huge cover. That was originally not supposed to be the song that was covered and put at the end of that movie. It was going to be a U2 song, MLK, which is a U2. I'm a U2 fan. I don't know that particular
I've never heard
song.
of that song.
But the budget did not allow for it. And I think that
Good.
ended up working out
Yeah.
pretty well.
That
for them.
guy's budget
Mm.
was nothing, and
Yeah.
he made a phenomenal soundtrack.
Yeah, it's an awesome soundtrack. So I have no complaints there. But you want to hear some people that almost got the role of
Who?
Donnie Darko? Some of these are gonna
Leo's
fucking
one of them.
mind.
Leo's one of
Leo's
them.
not in there. First choice for the
Robert
role.
Downey Jr.
Toby Maguire.
First choice for the role was Jason Schwartzman.
I can see that.
Maybe I can
Yeah,
see
doing
that.
that.
Who is that?
Jason Schwartzman. He's been in a lot of Wes Anderson movies.
He was in that episode of I Think
He
You
was
Should
just
Leave.
he was just in
right.
Asteroid
He
City,
was
right?
just
Yep, he's
in
in
that
He's like
Asteroid
the
City.
main
That's
character of
fine.
Asteroid
Yeah,
City.
so he's
He's been in a
Okay.
lot of Wes
you,
Anderson
you'd know him if
movies.
you saw him. So I guess
He's got a mole.
also the role was the role people that read for the role. Lucas Black from Sling Blade. He was also in Friday Night Lights, the movie. Patrick Fugit, who is the kid from Almost Famous. He, I guess, was up for the role of Donnie Darko. You've seen Almost Famous, right?
I have.
Yep, the kid that's in Almost Famous.
Yes.
Good movie.
Yep.
I do know that kid. That's weird. I know that.
Vince Vaughn was
Really?
in contention for this role.
He'd be horrible.
And
He's
just
so
to,
tall.
just to bring our hatred full circle,
Oh, here we go. Fucking Mark.
the
Wahlberg.
one, the only, Mark fucking Wahlberg,
Oh.
So I got this fucking.
who
this-
apparently did not get the part because he insisted when he was screen testing for this role and doing auditions playing Donnie Darko with a lisp in his voice. So this said, "Hey, Marky Mark, no thanks."
No, we're all set. Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Get
He's
this fucking
failed
bunny rabbit
enough
with
where
me
we don't
around
have
all
to
the time.
compete.
Tell me
Yeah.
the world can end.
Jake
I already
Gyllenhaal
had
was
an airplane
obviously the best
Wow,
one.
what a
My-
dude.
Jill,
my
I
feeling.
feel like Gyllenhaal is the
Can
best
you name
choice
a movie
there.
that you've seen him in that you don't like?
I think Mark
Mark
Wahlberg.
Wahlberg?
No,
Mark
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, I was gonna be like,
That
Bubble
he
Boy.
fucked up.
Yeah,
But he's
yeah.
still good in that movie.
I don't think I even saw that.
He's just plays a
Gyllenhaal
dorky-
takes a lot of chances and does a lot of interesting roles. I
like
really
Gyllenhaal.
like Nightcrawler a lot. I think Prisoners
Prisoners
is
is
probably his most
probably
underrated
one of
movie.
my
That's a
favorite
great movie.
movies. That's like my top
Oh,
5.
Dude, Brokeback Mountain, man.
I
Yeah,
finished
and,
Enemy, by the way, and it was fucking awesome. You guys
Yeah.
need to watch it. I
See
forgot
the
about
one with
that.
him and Amy Adams?
Nocturnal Animals?
That
I have
movie's
not seen
really
that,
good.
but I've heard
Him and
it's
Heath
very
Ledger,
strange.
Brokeback Mountain, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Good
Yeah.
movie.
Couple of cowboys in love,
It
my
is a good
friend.
movie.
That's
They do.
Yep.
They get broke back.
I mean, I guess
Someone's back's
maybe.
getting broken.
I mean, out of all those people, maybe
Busted.
I could see Schwartzman, but I feel like Gyllenhaal's the fit there.
I
He has
can't
the
picture
look.
Schwartzman.
I feel like
fucking
this movie made
22
his
years
career.
ago.
Yeah, I can
I feel
see
like because he fucking kills it in this
he's
movie.
very good. He's very good.
Amazing in this movie.
Yeah, he plays a very he does a very
He's
good job
perfectly
playing like an
uncomfortable.
over intelligent,
Yeah.
socially awkward,
Yeah, he's
condescending
perfect.
asshole.
It's like he has autism. You're like, you nailed it.
That's why
yeah.
that's why I made the comparison to Holden Caulfield from
Yeah.
Catcher in the Rye, because he's that type of character. It's very similar. But anyway, so that's what I got in terms of some interesting information about this movie. Yes,
What
Catherine?
did you just say?
The movie,
The movie.
Brokeback Mountain.
Yes.
What about that movie?
You guys want to talk about some other horror and horror adjacent movies that came out in the year 2001?
I would love to.
All right, cool.
Saw.
So there's some stinkers in
No?
here, but there are some interesting to pretty good movies. First one, and again, I'm going in alphabetical order here. Bones, which is an Ernest Dickerson movie. He worked on The Walking Dead, bunch of other stuff. So he directed it, and it's starring Snoop Dogg.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
see it.
I was gonna
Oh,
say,
I
is
know
that
that
Snoop
movie.
Dogg?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a vampire.
Yep.
Bones.
We also got Children of the Corn: Revelation.
Every one of those movies
Colon
sucks
Revelation. I
balls.
haven't seen that one.
Colon
Dude, have you had your
Revelation.
colonoscopy
Yeah,
lately?
Colon Revelation.
Nope.
We
My
got
asshole's fucked.
Andrew for you. Elvira's Haunted Hills.
Why is that for me?
Because you love Elvira's Hills.
Anderhill.
And
Yep,
also,
there you go.
so do you.
Here's
Hey,
a
who
movie.
don't, though?
Here's a movie
So do you.
that I very much like. From Hell.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
the
great.
Jack the Ripper movie starring
Yeah.
Johnny Depp. That's an awesome movie. And then, this is just sad to say out loud. The second to last feature to be directed by John Carpenter, as of right now, we got in 2001. That was Ghosts of Mars, which is a movie that I do not like at all.
Yeah, dude, the movie sucks.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Ice Cube's in it. Not that there's anything wrong with Ice Cube, but it's just he's in it. That's a choice by John Carpenter. A very good movie, Ginger Snaps, came out in 2001.
Yep.
That's a really
Patrick
good.
Wilson or
nope,
James
that's-
Marsden.
No, you're thinking of
Neither.
Hard Candy. That's Patrick Wilson.
Wrong candy, Andrew. Wrong candy.
We got the Hannibal movie in 2001.
Oh yeah.
Ray Liotta.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, Ray Liotta,
Brains
rest in
getting
peace,
eaten.
man.
Anthony Hopkins.
Very good one. Matthew, we got Jason X in 2001.
Okay.
Yep.
Movie sucks.
Yep, not very good. We also got Jeepers Creepers in 2001.
Oh, I
Movie's
remember
very
that.
good.
Justin
That's a
Long
movie.
movie's
Movie,
great.
pretty good.
Justin
Justin
Long.
Long, good monster.
Movie's fucking.
Director is a
Hardcore,
fucking freak.
dude.
Yep.
That's a scary
That's
fucking
an
horror
underrated.
movie.
That's a
That's a coverable
underrated
movie.
It
movie.
is.
Yeah.
It for sure is. Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna
Absolutely.
write that down.
That could
We
be
also
your next
got.
pick.
I don't know why anyone felt the need to make this movie. The Mangler 2, which is based on the a sequel to The Mangler, which is a Stephen King
Which
short
didn't even
story
get made
about a
either.
killer laundry machine. They made a sequel to that.
This is like Killer Sofa.
Yep, kind of like Killer Sofa.
Killer tofu.
It's a sentient, sentient laundry machine that kills people. We got Mimic 2, which the first Mimic,
Mimic
really like a lot.
rocks.
Yep, that's
Talk about
yep,
roaches and worms.
that's it. Yep, roaches, big cockroaches. That's a Del Toro
Mike
movie. The
loves
first one,
insects.
another movie that I really, really enjoy is David Lynch's Mulholland Drive. Came out in 2001. Great movie. Yep.
Great movie.
Might be my favorite, I think, this year. We also got, speaking of Del Toro, we got The Devil's Backbone, 2001.
Ooh, this
Very,
movie's
very good.
fantastic. That might
Yep.
be my favorite movie
Yep.
so far that you've said this year.
I would argue the biggest drop off from the first film to the second ever. We got The Mummy Returns in 2001.
Movie wasn't bad.
It wasn't
Here we
bad.
go.
It wasn't
bad,
good.
but
Here
it's
we
not as
go.
good as
It
the
was
first
it.
one. Not as good as the first
There's no
one.
Scorpion King.
Catherine, we got The Others in 2001.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, that's
With
a you
Nicole
movie.
Kidman.
You-
But
yes.
mother,
Whisper
I am
your-
your
I am
child.
your
Oh my gosh, it was so messed up. I mean, I feel like I'm so happy that Bridget doesn't know half the things we say to her. That
Yeah.
like when I, go to her in the morning and
She'll
I'm
learn
like
them
giving her
eventually.
eggs and I'm like, it's breakfast time, like it is from like Texas. Like not
Dude, she's gonna wake
no,
up.
so am I.
Yeah, yeah.
She's gonna wait. We're gonna be like,
It's breakfast time.
I can't wait till she does that, and you're like,
And I'm like, oh my god, what did I do?
What did I create? I want them over easy.
Yeah.
Extra hollandaise sauce.
Here's back-to-back cat movies. So The Others, and we also got Scary Movie 2 in 2001.
Banger.
That
I love
was
movie.
good.
Yep.
I favor Scary Movie 3. That's why I picked that for that
Scary
one.
Movie
But
2 is my
Scary
favorite.
Movie 2 is very
of them,
good though.
yeah.
I mean, the first and the second were pretty good. I feel like as they kept going, I was like,
The second one is laugh all out funny.
Yeah.
Also in 2001, Low-Key might be one of the scariest and most underrated movies to be filmed in Massachusetts on location, and that's Session 9. That's a movie we need to cover on this show.
That's a great movie.
Great
I'll write
movie.
that
Wasn't that
down.
based off an Edgar
Fantastic
Allan
movie.
Poe
No.
story?
An original story, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
Session 9.
Yep.
sure about that?
I think we talked about Nosferatu at some point earlier in this podcast. We also got a movie about the making of Nosferatu in 2001 called Shadow of the Vampire with John Malkovich.
That movie
and Willem
rocks.
Dafoe. It's a very
I
good
love that movie.
with Willem Dafoe playing Max Schreck.
Isn't it like wicked funny too?
It's
very
it's
funny.
definitely
it's a
comedy.
fantastic movie.
We also got 13 Ghosts.
Oh, you know what? I kind of have. I
Shannon
have
Elizabeth,
a soft spot.
how are ya?
I have a soft spot for my heart.
Yeah.
A soft spot in my heart for that movie.
I have a soft
With the
spot in my heart for
weird
Shannon
like
Elizabeth.
it's
Yeah,
a house and they
2001
all like
Shannon
locks
Elizabeth, yeah.
up.
I
and
got a
they're
hard
trying to
spot in
figure
my
it out,
cock,
whatever. No, but I mean, that was one of those movies in that time
go.
that was like so good. Like
Yeah.
no,
It did not age well.
Well, it's a
It
remake.
didn't- no, it didn't
It's a
age
remake.
well. But I mean, at the time, it was like, oh my god, this movie's awesome.
I
And when
never
it
thought
first
that
came-
once.
When it
I
first
was-
came out,
yeah.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
Movie
That
sucks.
was me.
Boo!
It's not good.
Dude, I don't know.
And
Yeah, you're wrong.
Well,
it was like a
happens.
clue. It was
Hey,
a different. It was fun.
maybe
it's a
the
fun
next
movie.
maybe for the next cat pick, you can
No,
pick
I wouldn't
13
pick that
Ghosts.
because it really.
If you
as
pick
Matt-
that, I'm
as
not
Matt
watching.
said- as Matt said, it really didn't age well, and I don't want to talk.
All right, fair
I'm just
enough.
saying when I first saw it, I really liked it. Now I've watched it again,
Mm.
and I'm like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
like
That's
it's
okay.
like it's
All
like it's like a really shitty cabin in the woods.
Shitty Bang Bang. Yep, there you go.
Like it's cabin in the
Yes.
woods, like an eighth of it maybe.
An eighth of it. Okay. Last but certainly not least, because Worms, we got Tremors 3, Back to Perfection in 2001, which is a movie that I've never seen. But anyway.
Really?
Never seen the third Tremors.
No.
Nope. Horror what? Sixth Throats,
It's a lot of
Mikey?
worms.
Sixth Throats. 2001 horror box office, by the way, top 10. Hannibal at number 1, 165 million smackers. The Others at number 2 with 96 million.
Others, dude.
13 Ghosts, number 3. 41.8 mil.
It was good then. That's what I'm saying.
Never good.
this.
It's because of Shannon Elizabeth. Dude.
Yeah, that's true. Jeepers
That's
Creepers
true.
at
She
number
was
4,
very big.
37.9 mil. The remake of Valentine, forgot about that one,
Oh.
20.3 mil. Number 6, Dracula 2000.
Banger.
That had made 11.4 mil. Followed by Shadow of the Vampire, Bones, The Forsaken, and Soul Survivors, rounding out the top 10.
Mm.
All the way down at number 12, Ginger Snaps, which made a whopping $284,000.
It was
Devil's Backbone, $453,000.
that movie was foreign.
Yeah. Yep. Both, but both I would say those need to be
I think Ginger Snaps was also foreign. It was Canadian.
Canadian. Yeah, from everybody up north, our friends up north, America's hat.
They're up
Hey.
Oot in the boot.
Yeah, out and a boot.
Hey.
Yeah. Hello to our Canadian listeners. Guys, that might be what I have for Donnie Darko, unless anyone has any parting thoughts about this film.
I didn't even look at my notes, to be honest.
Well,
Um,
fire away.
It's too late.
You can- no,
is
you can-
it?
you can
It's
continue to
too
go.
late?
It's not
I
too late.
mean,
Our listeners have signed off.
No, they haven't. Not yet.
Well, they should.
I felt like one of the things I was gonna mention was that it almost in the soundtrack it had like that American Beauty vibe, where like there were certain like aspects of. I just want to mention this, but
Wait. Yeah, it's fine. Keep going.
when they did like the Donnie, like there were certain scenes where they had the same music playing.
It's very
You know
dreamlike.
what I mean? It's very which was very
it's like
strange.
it kind of leaves. I felt like it like leaves reality.
right.
Yeah.
But you're also like in a comfort zone.
You're in a
and like-
fantasy.
but you're also in a
Yeah.
fantasy, and you're like not sure what's going on. But it's so funny that like Andrew was saying all that, and you were just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on
Yeah.
here, and I was like,
Well, it does leave reality just
It
to
does,
go into
no.
a different time.
But that was the thing. I
frame.
think I was overthinking it. I'm like,
I think you're very
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
But I think it's also like so much for interpretation because even watching it again now, like I watched it between yesterday and today, and like seeing the end, I feel like I vaguely remember this movie as I watch it. I mean, how many times I've watched it, but it's been forever. So I don't remember a movie I watched a month ago. Never
The
mind.
fuck are you trying to say? Say
I'm
something.
just saying. Okay, all right.
Just
The whole like
rambling
tornado
nonsense.
thing and the vortex and the portals and all these different like space travel time. It was weird, like that they mentioned all those
Wormholes,
things.
yeah.
Yeah. They mentioned all those things at the same time, but also like
so it's like
so
he
is this
traveled
trying
to
to
a different.
justify,
He
like-
traveled to a different timeline where
right.
he was able to go back. Like based off what Andrew said, that's what I'm getting is that.
Well, you know
He
what?
figured
The
out how
guy
to travel
showed up
to a different
when
timeline.
Frank shows up at the movie theater and he has a hole in his eye.
Yeah.
You know where
Right.
that
You-
happened, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. He shoots him in the
At
eye.
the end, yeah, he
Shoots him in
shoots
the
him in the
face.
eye.
But
So
there's
it's all
different
going
things
in
that-
reverse. He fixes everything by going, I'm just gonna die. I'm the worst person here.
So it's like
over.
that. Well,
So the
now
end is actually
butterfly
the
effect
beginning.
seems like a real ripoff.
It is,
dude.
right?
Well, he
That you're
knows the
like-
butterfly effect, and he goes, "I'm not going to let that happen." He
Yeah.
changes
So he dies
it,
in the
and he just
beginning,
dies. He's a
and then-
martyr.
But that's why the whole
thing.
thing is like he travels through a wormhole.
To
That
see.
black fucking bullshit
Mhm.
must be the wormhole he goes through, and then he dies
Yeah.
in that accident.
I know what I
gets
want to
a
say
little
about this
fucking-
movie. It's a worm movie. Wormholes.
Wormhole, dude.
Mhm.
Mikey's favorite.
I'm
man.
excited.
The
Excited.
Mike's
wormhole.
fucking dick
Yeah,
is
not
so
even
hard right now.
wormhole.
He's like raging boner inside a wormhole.
What else did you have in your notes? Anything?
that was 16.
That's about
Yeah.
it? Okay. All right. Matt, Andrew, anything further?
That's
I'm
all I
done.
got.
No,
I'm good.
I love this movie. It's awesome.
Yeah,
It's like
I
staring
liked-
at a
I
menu
like
for
this.
too long.
It's
I'm actually
great.
kind of surprised that you like this movie,
Staring
Matt,
at
but
him.
that's okay. Hey, whatever.
You're
Whatever
pretty much right.
you
there.
get.
Matt said he didn't like this movie.
I don't. I
Yeah.
actually like. It's.
fine.
I don't like this movie
But
very
he's
much.
entitled to his opinion.
That's okay.
It's
Yeah.
fair. No one.
It's what
you don't
makes us
have to
different
like
that
anything.
makes us great, but also what makes us makes us similar that makes us great. Anywho,
What makes us makes us.
what makes us makes us. That's correct.
To be
Thanks for
fair.
tuning in to another episode of America's Soundtown Horror, you guys. That's what we got. We'll have another movie or some sort of topic coming at you next week. But if you
Something.
would like to know where else you can find our show, you can find it wherever you're listening right now. But we're also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spreaker, wherever else you may get your podcasts. One thing that I would like to start mentioning more, if you really do enjoy this show and you'd like to have us continue to put out content, if you would leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, that would be very helpful for us. Obviously helps the show grow, helps the show get more popular, because we would like to do both of those things. But anyway, thanks again for listening to another episode of America's Hometown Horror. My name is Mike. I've been joined by Andrew, Kat, and Matt. Sad to say it's the end of Cat Month in just a few short days, but it's been a good Cat
Yes.
Month.
Is it that sad?
Cat
think it's
got
fucking great.
two
Not for me.
picks.
Not for me.
No
Jimmy
one has time for
likes
you.
to.
Shut up. Time to shut
How'd
up.
you like to go on a date?
Guess what?
Yeah.
Your time is over.
I know.
Nobody
I'm
fucking
just-
cares.
Just let me
Shut the
relish
fuck
in the
up,
rest of my
Kat.
month,
All right.
please.
Why don't we quit while we're ahead? Thanks for
Okay.
listening, guys. A good evening.
Adios, muchacho.
Goodbye.
Fuck off, cat.
Bye.
You fuck off, fucker.
Smell you later. Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and I want to say thanks again for listening to another episode of our show. If you're interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, you've got to check out some of the other shows from our friends on the Inebriart Podcast Network. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find the Inebriart Podcast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, Retro Redoctopus, and the Old Colony Cast, so head on over and give them a listen.